Hi, so we are Team B2, and we're here to talk about the organizational behavior of the Major League movie. So I'm Emily. I'm going to talk about the portion of groups and teams in the movie. It started with the forming stage where Rachel hired Charlie and Lou to be the general manager and the manager of the team. And then Lou started inviting the players to training camp over the summer, time to start forming the team, literally. Then it goes into the storming stage where at camp, Lou tries to put them in different positions, sees how Rick and Jake and all of them do in their different baseball positions, sees their strengths and weaknesses, and kind of forming their full team with Rick as pitcher, Jake catching, and all those positions. Then is the norming stage where Lou finds out Rachel's true intentions with the team about how she wanted to make the team the worst in the league so they can move to Miami. And that's where they can play out of, and she can eventually get a better team. After that, Lou brought in the standee of her to kind of motivate them into playing better and kind of winning more games. And this is kind of when Jake stands up and says, like, we only have one thing to do, like win the whole thing. So this is kind of when they all came together and decided that they weren't going to be the worst team in the league, that they were going to be the best. The fourth stage is performing, which would be the games themselves when they started to, get on that hot streak, win more games, increase their attendance at the games. So there's, Wild Thing talking to his catcher in the big game, kind of talking about, getting those strikes in. And then the final stage, which is adjourning, it wasn't totally shown in this movie because it kind of ended on the celebration scene. So that was kind of the adjourning that we got as viewers, but we can assume that, they finished out the rest of the season and, adjourned properly. There's also a sequel to this movie that probably also contributes to the adjourning stage.
Moving on to the communication stage. So the coach goes to the bathroom and tries to communicate with the team. We can witness a lot of scenes that has communication between the coach and the team, especially when the coach tells the truth to the team about the position the manager has on the team and why she wants them there. Also, one great scene was when Jake goes to talk to Doran about why he missed the grounder in the game. And specifically, I feel like some good examples of communication versus bad examples when Willie Mays forget to tell the team he was trying out. And for me, I think what was the outcome from this miscommunication, Willie Mays was immediately cut from the team. Coach tells the team about Rachel Phillips' decision about the team in future and build team moral and allowed them to focus on a common goal and enemy. So moving on to the next slide.
So for the next part of this, we're going to talk about the leadership that is shown in the movie. So for this, I'm going to focus on the team coach, Lou Brown, as he was the main leader throughout different stages. So the majority of the leadership that's happening is happening at the individual level through the one-on-one interactions with the coach and his players. One of those that stood out to me was when Lou goes out of his way to try and figure out why Rick Thorne's pitches are so all over the place to the point that people call him Wild Thing. And in this, he takes the time to talk to him and realize that he's basically blind and he needs glasses. So him in this leadership position encourages him to get glasses, and that helps him as an individual on the team. Additionally, there's leadership happening at the group level through team building. One of those prime examples, as Donya and Emily both mentioned before, was when Lou goes to the team and tells them that our owner, Miss Phelps, she thinks we suck. She put us together on purpose to purposely be the worst team possible. So he uses this and turns it around into this chance to be motivational for them. And so that's how they got the idea of the cardboard cutout, which is every time they lose that he would remove a piece of the cardboard cutout, which is his form of motivation towards the team, and encourages them to have a common goal to work towards. So overall, Lou was a great team leader because he created an excitement for the team and made sure to engage them. So as individuals, they all were able to come work together. And moving on to the next part.
So I'm going to be talking about motivation and how it was represented throughout the movie. The expectancy theory says that there are 3 levels of motivation. I don't want to do it, I want to do it, and I want to do it, and I believe I can do it. Motivation was a leading factor for Rachel Phelps to start the team in the first place. She believed that if they did bad enough dropping attendance below the minimum necessary to keep the team's agreement, she will be able to move to Miami and she won't be hated by everyone or blamed for her husband's death. So she was really motivated and she achieved her goal and managed to invite a group of people that has never given a chance before to participate in her team. At the beginning, the players that were being selected didn't have enough motivation. When they started training, they got a lot of red cards and they were not motivated enough because the crowd was not happy with the results. But then they started to get better and better, and then they reached the second level of expectancy, which was, okay, we can do it and we want to do it. So they started working towards their goal, but Rachel was not happy with it. So she tried to demotivate them, turning off the hot water. And then when she saw that this was not working, she told the coach to tell them, as Madison and everyone already mentioned before, that they suck, and then she never had any faith in them. She was just using them for her own benefit. But then instead of getting demotivated, they said, no, okay, we're gonna do better. And that was their motive, to win instead of lose. And after this part is when they reached the 3rd level and last of the expectancy theory. So now they wanted to do it and believe that they were capable to do it. And this one is the most important one, because this is why the team was that no one had expectations in one, and they proved that once they started to believe in themselves and change their perspective from you versus me to us perspective, was nothing preventing them from winning. Moving on to the next slide.
I'm going to be talking about ethics and the different components that were shown in the movie within these characters. To begin with, Eddie Harris was talking to Ricky in the locker room, telling him about he uses Crisco, Bardo, and Vagisil to get curved balls, and that one day Ricky would do the same as well. This is showing that Eddie is distorting the consequences because he's making it seem like it's not a big deal. Another scene was when Jake Taylor and Lynn end up sleeping together. Even though they were talking about Lynn getting married to someone else, they're also distorting the consequences because they're making it seem like it's not a big deal. And another scene where Ricky sleeps with Suzanne, which is Roger's wife, because she caught Roger sleeping, getting with another girl and wants payback. This shows attributing the blame because she knew it was wrong, but believed that Roger deserved it. And finally, the last scene, Rachel from the start wanted a bad team that would lose so that she would benefit from it and get to move to Miami and replace the team regardless. She also took things away from them in order to get them to perform badly and wouldn't fix things that they needed. She used I forgot how to say this word. Ethical language, making things sound better than they actually were. And finally, moving on to the last part.
Lastly, we move on to change, power, influence, and politics. I'm gonna be focusing on 3 characters the most, which are Rachel Phelps, the team owner, Charlie Donovan, the team general manager, and Lou Brown, the team coach. They all happen to change sides, going like against each other and towards each other at the beginning. So Rachel's main goal was to move the team out of Cleveland to Miami, or I think honestly she just wanted to leave Cleveland. She's it was like determined to make the team lose in order to get out of the contract they had. So she tasked Charlie Donovan to get the lousiest and incompetent players he could find. At first, the team started losing, and then Charlie told Lou Brown what was going on, as my teammates have told before. When Lou Brown realizes that Rachel is trying to make them lose, he tells his team, who in turn realize that, oh, they've been essentially duped as losers, and they weren't going to take that. So they decided that we're going to win. And from then on, they were taking influence and like leadership from Lou Brown and ignoring whatever Rachel was saying. In the end, they did win 32 games in a row, and as a reward, they actually had a very raunchy cutout of Rachel, which they would just undress after every game as a reward. Thank you for listening to our organizational behavior on the Major League movie.